At the beginning of lesson 1.4, on page 22 in your textbook, there's some data about a colony of termites, close to the bottom of the page here. The first row gives you the month number, and the second row gives you the population of termites. So at the very beginning of this observation, 0 months, we have 1,000 termites. And at the 12th month, over at the end of the observation, we have 2,800 termites. And we want to talk a little bit about average rate of change with regard to this termite colony. We're going to study this using our TI calculator. And I'm going to show you how you can take the data in that table and enter it into your calculator and graph it. To enter data into the calculator, we'll use the stat key. Right here, the second row, third key. Stat key opens up a stat menu. The first thing we want to do is edit item 1. Now, when we come into the stat menu, we see that our lists have some data in them. I want to clear that out, so I'm sitting in list 1, L1, so I'm going to arrow up, hit the clear button, and press enter. That clears out the data in list 1. Then I'll come over to list 2, using the arrow keys, clear button, enter. Now, there are usually 6 lists, and it looks like these lists are clear. Oops, list 5 has some data. So let's go up, clear, enter, come over, check out list 6, and it's empty. So it looks like we're cleared out. So in list 1 then, let's put the months, 0, 3, 6, 9, and 12. So 0, 3, 6, 9, 12. And then let's arrow over to list 2 and put the number of termites. So we start off with 1,000, and then 2,500, 4,000, 7,000, 2,800. All right, so we have our data. Let's go over to our stat plot menu. It's over here on the Y equals key, but we have to push the blue button, stat plot, and you'll notice we have the capacity to build 3 different stat plots. Right now, all of my plots are off. You can see that. And I'm going to do this in plot 1. So if I just press 1 on my keyboard, now I'll have to set some features of the stat plot. I want to turn it on, and I'm sitting on on. The blinking cursor is on the word on. So if I press an enter, then I'll turn on that plot. Now I'm going to create a type. The first one is a scatter plot, and we'll come back and do those later. But I want to do a connected plot, which will be the second one. Now, our X values come from list 1, and that's where we put them, so we're good to go there. Our Y values come from list 2, we're good to go there. And now when we plot the points, we'll use a mark. We can use a little square, you can use a plus sign, you can use a dot. And I think I'll just stick with the square, that's a nice one. So we can quit out of that menu. Now, in order to have our plot appear on the screen where we'd like it, let's set a window. We'll notice that our X values go from 0 to 12. So I'm going to have the window go from -1 to 13. And a scale of 1 works fine. Then on the Y-axis, we want to go from 1,000 to 2,800. So from about 1,000 to 3,000. I'm going to actually start at -1,000. And I'm going to go up to 4,000. That will give me a little space on top and bottom of the graph. And I don't want to tick mark every one because that'll create an almost solid, a fat line for the Y-axis. I could use 0 and set no scale, but I think what I'm going to do here is actually set my scale equal to 1,000. So I'll have a tick mark every 1,000 units, and we won't worry about any of the other settings. All right, so we have our data entered through the stat menu. We have our plot entered through the stat plot menu, the details of that. We're ready to graph. What happened? My Y, I got as high as, I didn't notice, I said 2,800, but actually my highest was in the ninth month was 7,000. So let's go back to our window and set up 8,000. And let's try that graph again. Okay, now our graph sits in the window and we can study it further.